And right now we are joined live by First Coast News crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson. Okay, so Ken, a lot happened over the weekend. At least 10 different people injured in shootings across our area, 3 different incidents. Let's start with the first one. It was in the Mandarin area. I'm sure a lot of people waking up, they're learning about this, saying, I go to that Lowe's, and this happened in that parking lot. Why are we seeing shootings happen just kind of outside of residential places in kind of the suburbs in just a shopping center?
Yeah, and we're seeing it like in this area that normally doesn't have this type of violence that goes on, but it can happen anywhere. Let's just be aware that it can happen anywhere, anytime, by anybody. We just have to be aware of our surroundings at all times. You know, a lot of people are living on edge right now for whatever reasons. You can list the reasons, 1 to 10, as to why a lot of people are quick to anger and quick to react in a way that they shouldn't react. Used to be, back in the day, we would resolve our differences with our fists. If it came down to that, now they go for a gun or any other type of weapon. So you're seeing these things happening all over our city, Jacksonville. So it can happen anywhere.
What can be done, at least in those type of instances, to maybe prevent people from the first thing they do is go for the gun if they're in some sort of interaction with people?
If you find yourself in a contentious situation, walk away. Yeah. Just walk away. Try to peacefully resolve it that way. If the person follows you or the person continues to harass you, what have you, contact law enforcement. Most people walk around with a cell phone in their hand anyway, or their earbud in their ear, that they can make a call really quick. Try to get someone to intervene from management. If you're inside the store, if you're outside of the store, you kind of like on your own. Try to just get away from it totally if you see that sort of thing happening. Your road rage leads up to parking lots, different areas on sides of the street. Sometimes it's just some minor stuff that people get angry over and they have contention with one another. So just try to get away from it if at all possible. If you can, contact the police.
Okay, now let's go to the shooting in Jacksonville Beach over the weekend. Another one of these teen takeovers that went from the beach, especially with a large music festival going on. Yeah. Is there an increased police presence for big events like this, and how could this maybe have been prevented?
It has to be a large police presence for things like this. Now, what police have to do a little more often is to make sure that they monitor the social media. The social media page is the big invitation. Yeah. Everybody sees it. All these teens see that, you know, they're not individually calling thousands of teens and say, hey, let's get together at the beach for a takeover, teen takeover. It's on social media. They're saying we're going to gather at social media, and you know, the average young person, average teenager, have their phones in their hands all the time on social media, talking and responding and doing all kinds of things. So police can monitor that and be prepared for it. Now, Jax Beach has a small police department, right? So they have to depend on the assistance from JSO and any others, Neptune Beach as well as Atlantic Beach, to try to help them with crowd control. I said earlier, and I'll say it again, you need to have uniformed officers and non-uniformed officers. Non-uniformed officers walking through the crowd to see what's going on, if anything is trying to brew up or whatever, and they can radio their partners and they can get on it right away. They have to take swift action if they see something going on. If you see 2 teenagers fussing, arguing, pushing and shoving, they got to take swift action right then and there. But they also have to be mindful of their safety as well, because when you're a crowd of people and right. 1 or 2 officers is in there, they're very vulnerable.
And it seems like this is a situation where the initial meetup was on the beach, and then that was broken up, but then it moved to this McDonald's, and that's where the shooting took place. So I guess it's also a case of staying with the group even after you kind of break up the crowd.
Yeah, you can tell them to cease and desist in a certain area, move on. But where are they going to go? Right. And a lot of them are going to follow them, especially if they see the police telling them to go somewhere else. A lot of them are going to follow them, so they're just going to crowd somewhere else. So you got to be mindful of their tracks and how they operate and stay on top of it as law enforcement.
And it's not just law enforcement, you know, monitoring social media to try to stay on top of these things. It's on parents. If you look on the JSO website, it says with the curfew law, yeah, kids under 18 can't be out after 11 p.m. But also it says parents can be held liable for knowing where their kids are and anything they do when they don't know where they are.
And that's a great point, Brody. Parents need to stop trying to be their kids' best friend. You know, they give them just about everything that they ask for or demand. Now they don't ask anymore. They demand these sort of things. They give them liberties to go out and have fun at the beach, whatever, not really knowing what they're going to get into, but they're unsupervised, and kids are going to be kids, teenagers are going to be teenagers, they're going to act immature like we see this way. But the responsibility does rely a lot on the parents. You can't put it all on law enforcement. Law enforcement is not required to try to raise your child. You're responsible as a parent to raise your child and teach them to obey the laws and do the right things and whatever. Now, the community at large can be involved as well by having certain gatherings with the teenagers or with the other parents and discuss these sort of things so that it can be prevented.
And also, parents can be held liable, right? If they find these kids and find out who their parents are.
Yeah, if they're under 18, parents can be held liable for their children's actions.
All right, Ken Jefferson, thanks so much. Is there anything, what more do you think can be done beyond what we discussed here? Is it just a situation of the whole community as a whole has to kind of come together to put an end to these things? I
would say situational awareness, be aware. These things are currently happening all around the United States, but we're concerned about happening here in Jacksonville. Yeah. The main thing is to monitor that social media. That's how they communicate. Like I said, they're not going to call 1,000 teenagers and say, let's meet up at the beach. Monitor that. The parents need to monitor their children's social media page as well, see who they're talking to, see what's going on or whatever. Have your computer in a common area. If that child is on the computer, you can see exactly what they're doing. And then monitor their phone. Monitor their cell phones. Be a parent.
Be a parent. All right. Ken Jefferson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Brother.